The speedboat cut across a glittering blue sea, carrying Aaliyah Brooks and Imani Carter toward Becto Island Resort. White villas climbed the green hillside, and a wedding pavilion stood at the water's edge beneath pale flowers. Imani leaned over the rail, one hand pressed dramatically to her chest. 3 years of saving, 4 canceled weekend trips, and 1 suspicious discount code. We made it, Aaliyah laughed. Do not mention the discount code before we check in. They had promised each other one perfect vacation after surviving impossible workloads and too many takeout dinners over video calls. For 7 days there would be no clients, deadlines, or alarm clocks. Their cliffside suite was larger than either of their apartments. Imani claimed the bedroom with the ocean-facing bathtub, then bought Aaliyah's silence with unlimited minibar access. An hour later, dressed for the beach, they wandered toward the quiet end of the island, laughing at how ordinary their sandals looked beside the designer luggage entering the wedding wing. Near a shallow cove, 2 little girls were building a sandcastle too close to the incoming tide. 7-year-old Yuri decorated it with shells, while Unji chased a ribbon from her sun hat toward the water. Aaliyah reached the 5-year-old first, lifting her as a wave rushed around her ankles. Unji stared at the soaked hem of Aaliyah's dress, then wrapped both arms around her neck. You caught me, she said happily. That was the idea. Next time, let the ribbon escape. Ribbons are terrible swimmers. A tall Korean man in a black shirt hurried down the stone path. His expression was controlled, but the fear in his eyes faded only when he saw Unji safe. Thank you, he said with a slight bow. I should have been here sooner. Another man appeared behind him in an open linen shirt, already grinning. Young, you were gone for 3 minutes. Somehow the children found danger and new friends. The serious man gave him a warning look. I am Kang Siwoo, the younger man said, ignoring it. He pointed toward his brother. This is Kang Seojun. He always looks like that. It is not your fault, Imani laughed. Seojun closed his eyes briefly, as if asking the ocean for patience. By sunset, the resort had transformed for Kang Soyeon's wedding. Musicians tested instruments near the pavilion while relatives filled the lobby. Aaliyah and Imani returned from dinner, just as Seojun and Siwoo entered with Yuri and Yoonji. Chairman Kang Dong-ho stood near the stairs in a pale summer suit beside Madam Kang Hee-won, elegant and unsmiling. Soyeon greeted guests with her fiancé, Lee Hyun-suk. Madam Kang fixed her eyes on Seojun. You are late, and you came alone again. Grandmother, I came with Siwoo. That supports my point. Dong-ho hid a smile. Siwoo looked delighted. Then Yuri spotted Aaliyah. Uncle, your girlfriend is here. Every conversation stopped. Aaliyah froze. Seojun looked from Yuri to her, then slowly toward his brother. He should have corrected the mistake. Instead, Siwoo slipped an arm around Seojun's shoulders and smiled at the family. Yes, they have been dating for months. Aaliyah's mouth fell open. Imani made a choking sound. Soyeon lit up, while Chairman Kang smiled as if the evening had finally become interesting. Seojun removed Siwoo's arm with dangerous calm. A word now. Siwoo leaned closer. Relax, young. I will fix it. Nobody in the lobby believed him, least of all Seojun. Seojun found Aaliyah on the moonlit path behind the villas, walking fast enough to suggest she was considering swimming back to the mainland. He stopped several feet away. I apologize for my brother, he said. Is this a regular service he provides, or was tonight special? Despite himself, Seojun almost smiled. He acts before he thinks. No, he thought. He was enjoying himself. Seojun explained that his grandmother had spent years worrying that work had consumed his life. If the lie ended immediately, Soyeon's wedding week would become an interrogation about him. He hated asking, but he wanted Aaliyah to pretend to be his girlfriend until the ceremony ended. You are asking a woman you met beside a sandcastle to join a family deception. When you say it that way, it sounds unreasonable. There is no reasonable way to say it. He offered to upgrade both women's stay and cover every island activity. Aaliyah refused payment, but hesitated when he promised the lie would never interfere with their vacation. Imani emerged from behind a garden tree. A private yacht is included, right? Aaliyah turned. You were spying. I was supporting you from a highly decorative location. The 4 returned to the lobby, hoping to limit the lie. They were too late. Soyeon had ordered another place at the family table for Aaliyah, and Yoonji had drawn her beside Seojun beneath a crooked red heart. Madam Kang looked at Imani. And you are? Imani Carter, Aaliyah's best friend. Before she could continue, Siwoo stepped beside her. He had learned nothing from Seojun's warning. She is also my girlfriend. Imani turned slowly. I am your what? Siwoo kept smiling, though panic flashed in his eyes. My girlfriend. We were keeping it private. So private that I did not know. Soyeon clapped. Both of my brothers brought someone? This is the best wedding gift anyone has given me. Seojin pinched the bridge of his nose. Hyunsuk looked away, shoulders shaking with laughter. Later, in an empty lounge, Imani paced while Siwoo followed with apology desserts. She agreed after setting 3 rules. No surprise kisses, no lies about marriage, and no touching her food. Siwoo accepted, then stole a strawberry from her plate. She pointed at him. The relationship is already in trouble. That makes it believable, he replied. Aliyah wrote the rules on hotel stationery. Both relationships had begun recently. The couples had met in Seoul during separate business trips. Nobody would invent proposals, shared apartments, matching tattoos, or dramatic rescues. Siwoo objected because he had already imagined several. Seojin added that everything would end after the wedding reception. He spoke with calm precision, but Aliyah noticed how often he checked whether she was comfortable. When Siwoo suggested practicing romantic eye contact, Seojin threatened to move him to a service cabin beside the laundry room. Across the lounge, Chairman Kang pretended to read a newspaper. The page had not moved in 20 minutes. He lowered it and said, "Young people whisper very loudly these days." All 4 went silent. Dongho collected a pastry and winked at Aliyah. "Do not worry. I am old, not deaf, but every wedding needs a little mystery." Before they could ask what he knew, Madame Kang entered. "Tomorrow evening is the family welcome dinner," she announced. "Couples will sit together. Be punctual and prepared to answer basic questions about one another." Siwoo's confidence vanished. Imani turned toward him. "How did we meet?" He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Aliyah looked at Seojin. "What is my favorite food?" For the first time, the billionaire looked genuinely alarmed. The family welcome dinner was held on a terrace above the sea. Lanterns glowed between palm trees and the long table overlooked silver waves. Aliyah wore a deep blue dress Imani had declared fake girlfriend convincing. Seojin, in a tailored black suit, stood when she approached and pulled out her chair. "That was smooth," she whispered. "My grandmother is watching." So it was fear. Mostly. Across from them, Siwoo and Imani arrived arguing over who had taken longer to dress. Their bickering looked so natural that Soyeon smiled. Madame Kang did not. She began asking questions before the first course arrived. Where had Seojin and Aliyah met? Who asked for the first date? What had Aliyah ordered? "Coffee," Seojin said. "Tea," Aliyah answered at the same time. A dangerous silence followed. Then Aliyah smiled. "I ordered coffee, hated it, and stole his tea." Seojin nodded. "She still steals from my plate." He said it so smoothly that even Aliyah looked at him. Under the table, Siwoo gave his brother an impressed thumbs up. Madame Kang continued, her sharp gaze lingering. When Madame Kang turned to Siwoo and Imani, their planning collapsed. Siwoo claimed they met at an art gallery. Imani said it was a bookstore. Siwoo combined the stories. It was a bookstore inside an art gallery. "A very confusing building," Imani added. Hyunsuk coughed into his napkin. Chairman Kang ate calmly, enjoying every second. Madame Kang asked what first attracted Imani to Siwoo. "His silence," she answered. The table erupted in laughter. Siwoo placed a wounded hand over his heart. "She means my mysterious presence. I mean the 7 seconds before you introduced yourself. There." Story expanded to include a lost. Umbrella and Siwoo identifying a painting that was actually an emergency exit map. Somehow, the more they argued, the more convincing they seemed. Since then, Madame Kang asked Seojin what he admired most about Aliyah. No prepared answer covered that. He looked at her instead of the family. "She notices when someone needs help," he said. "And she acts before anyone asks." His voice had lost its rehearsed tone. Aliyah remembered him running toward Yoonji on the beach. For one quiet moment, the lie no longer felt entirely false. Dessert arrived with the final trap. Madame Kang asked each couple to name the other's greatest fear. Siwoo guessed that Imani feared boring vacations. She said his greatest fear was being ignored for more than 30 seconds. Both answers were convincing enough to make everyone laugh. Then Seojin went still. He knew little about Aliyah beyond her work, her friendship with Imani, and the way she had protected Yoonji. Aliyah knew even less about what frightened a man who seemed prepared for everything. Chairman Kang set down his spoon. "Hee-won, this is dinner, not an investigation. I am making conversation. You asked me for 3 references before our second date, and you provided 4. One was your barber." The table dissolved into laughter and the question disappeared. Under the table, Dongho tapped his cane against Seojin's shoe. Rescued for now. After dinner, Soyeon announced the next wedding activity, a couple's excursion aboard the family yacht, with swimming, games, and photographs for the wedding album. Imani leaned toward Siwoo. You cannot remember where we met. By tomorrow, I will remember our fictional anniversary. Aaliyah looked out at the dark water. Seojin stepped beside her. Thank you for tonight, he said. Do not thank me yet. Tomorrow we have to look romantic in daylight. Behind them, Madame Kang watched both couples leave. Her expression revealed nothing. The family yacht waited at Baekdo Island's private marina the next morning. Soyeon stood on deck with a clipboard while Hyunso carried cameras, sunscreen, and the expression of a man who had already lost an argument. Siwoo greeted Imani in sunglasses. Good morning, girlfriend. I remembered our anniversary. And when is it? The first Thursday after the bookstore inside the art gallery opened. Meaningless, she said, but confident. Seojin offered Aaliyah his hand as she boarded. His grip remained steady until she was safely on deck. Madame Kang noticed, while Chairman Kang lowered his sunglasses with an approving smile. For the first photograph, Soyeon ordered the couples together. Seojin placed a careful hand at Aaliyah's waist. Yuri complained that they looked like co-workers, so Aaliyah moved closer. Try not to look frightened, she whispered. I negotiate international acquisitions. And yet my elbow is defeating you. The camera flashed just as Seojun's mouth almost curved into a smile. Once the yacht left the marina, Soyeon announced a couples challenge involving trivia, knots, and a blindfolded obstacle course. Grandpa immediately volunteered to keep score. Siwoo tied the wrong knot on purpose, blamed the rope, and nearly fell when Imani pushed his shoulder. He caught the rail and pulled her close. They went quiet until she tilted his sunglasses crooked. I was testing your concern, he said. The results were disappointing. Seojin knew every knot but none of Aaliyah's favorite films. She answered the wedding trivia, but could not throw a floating ring in a straight line. For the final task, she blindfolded him and guided him across the deck. You trust me? She asked. I have known you for 3 days. That is not an answer. He held out his hand. Yes. She guided him past chairs, Siwoo's deliberate obstacles, and Eunji carrying juice. When he reached the finish untouched, Aaliyah cheered. Seojin removed the scarf and laughed, a real, unguarded laugh. The family stared. Siwoo pointed at him. Hyung, do that again. I think the island moved. Seojin recovered, but Aaliyah spent the rest of the afternoon trying to make him laugh again. Warm rain swept over the yacht during lunch, sending everyone into the glass lounge. Aaliyah stayed outside to help Yuri gather loose photographs. When she returned shivering, Seojin crossed the room, took a blanket, and wrapped it around her shoulders. I am fine, she said. You are cold. That sounded like concern. It was an observation. He held the blanket closed while she adjusted it. Siwoo made a kissing noise from across the room, earning an elbow from Imani. Aaliyah expected Seojin to step away, but he instead moved a chair closer and checked that her wet sandals were not slippery. Most of the family watched the storm. Madame Kang watched them. Chairman Kang joined her at the window. You are thinking loudly again. I am observing. That is what Seojun says when he is worried. She ignored him. As the yacht returned to the marina, Soyeon announced the next day's wedding decorations and mandatory dance rehearsal. Aaliyah looked at Seojin. Can you dance? He paused. From behind them, Siwoo called. No, the wedding pavilion became a workshop the next morning. Boxes of pale flowers covered the floor. Ribbons hung from chairs, and Soyeon moved through the chaos like a general protecting an expensive battlefield. Aaliyah and Seojin were assigned to the ceremony arch. She climbed a short ladder while he stood below, watching every time she leaned too far. You can hold the ladder, she said. It will not damage your reputation. I am holding it. You are threatening it with eye contact. Across the pavilion, Siwoo tied ribbon around Imani's wrist and called it measuring. She secretly attached 3 bows to his shirt. Madame Kang inspected Aaliyah's work and moved 1 flower. The arch must be balanced. Aaliyah studied it. Then the lower right needs 2 more, not 1. Haiwan looked again. Aaliyah was correct. Without praise, she handed her the remaining stems and stayed to help. She explained that Soyeon had chosen flowers once loved by the sibling's mother. Aaliyah listened quietly. When they finished, Madame Kang said, You notice details. I have been accused of worse. Hyun's expression softened for a moment. Across the arch, Seojin looked at Aaliyah with unmistakable warmth. That afternoon, music filled the reception hall. Seojin stood at the edge of the dance floor as though considering a hostile takeover of the speakers. Aaliyah held out her hand. It cannot be worse than the blindfold course. At first, he counted every step and kept a formal distance. She moved closer and placed his hand properly at her waist. "We are supposed to be dating," she said, "not completing workplace safety training. You enjoy this too much. Watching a billionaire lose an argument to music?" "Absolutely." Nearby, Siwoo deliberately spun the wrong direction. Imani corrected him twice before realizing he was making mistakes just to keep holding her hand. "You know the steps," she accused. "I learned quickly. You are cheating. In a fake relationship. The rules are unclear." She stepped on his shoe. He only grinned. When the song slowed, Seojin finally stopped counting. He and Alia moved naturally, eyes locked, forgetting the family until Grandpa applauded loudly. Seojin released her, but his hand lingered. Alia wondered how many real moments their lie could survive before someone named them. After sunset, Grandpa arranged a bonfire on the private beach. Shoes were abandoned in the sand, food passed between relatives, and even Madame Kang sat near the fire beneath a light shawl. Siwoo told impossible childhood stories about Seojin, including one about organizing toy cars by resale value. Soyeon confirmed it. Imani laughed until she leaned against Siwoo's shoulder. He went still, then shifted so she could rest comfortably. Alia walked toward the water. Seojin followed with 2 cups of tea and handed her one exactly as she liked it. "You remembered. You stole mine at dinner." She admitted the vacation was a reward after years of postponing everything she wanted. Seojin understood. Since taking over Kang Group, he had attended family trips through screens and answered calls through celebrations. "Why did you come this time?" she asked. "Soyeon threatened to move the wedding into my boardroom." Alia laughed. He smiled easily now. Behind them, Siwoo chased Imani after she stole his phone. Seojin looked at Alia. "I am glad I came." Neither pretended he meant only the wedding. Fireworks from a rehearsal boat interrupted her answer, but the unfinished moment remained between them. Chairman Kang announced a treasure hunt at breakfast, with the satisfaction of a man who had planned trouble for days. Each couple received a map, 3 riddles, and a camera. The winners would choose the music for the wedding brunch. No staff help, no golf carts, and no bribing the children, Dong-ho warned. Siwoo slowly returned a candy to his pocket. Yuri looked disappointed. Seojin and Alia were sent toward the old lighthouse. Siwoo and Imani received a route through the tropical gardens. Soyeon accused Grandpa of deliberately isolating the couples. "What a cynical bride," he said into his coffee. At a fork, Seojin confidently chose the wrong path. 10 minutes later, they reached a locked maintenance shed. Alia folded her arms. "International acquisitions. The map is inaccurate. Of course, the island failed you." At the lighthouse, a riddle asked them to photograph something more valuable than the resort. Seojin aimed at the ocean. Alia lowered the camera and photographed him instead. "Proof you can take a day off," she said. He took the camera and captured her laughing. "Now we are even." In the gardens, Siwoo led Imani past the same fountain 3 times. "We are lost," she said. "We are exploring alternate routes. The fish recognize us." He finally admitted the map had been upside down. When Imani grabbed it, the wind carried it into a stream. Siwoo reached for it, slipped, and landed ankle-deep in water. Imani laughed until she had to sit down. He splashed her. She splashed back. The wedding photographer later found them soaked beneath the palms with no explanation ready. They abandoned the competition and followed a shaded trail to a lookout. Away from his family, Siwoo admitted people rarely expected seriousness from him, because Seojin had always been the responsible brother. "You hide behind jokes," Imani said. "You attack people with jokes. Mine are excellent." For once, he did not answer quickly. His quiet stare made her glance away first. Then he found the final clue beneath the railing and lifted her in celebration. She protested, but her arms closed around his shoulders. When he set her down, both smiled too carefully. Losing no longer seemed important. The last clue led Seojin and Alia to a cliffside pavilion overlooking the resort. Inside a wooden box were 2 cards. What had they learned about their partner, and what did they still want to know? Alia wrote that Seojin was kinder than he allowed people to notice. Seojin wrote that she made unfamiliar places feel easy. This time they read their answers aloud. "What do you still want to know?" he asked. "Who you are when nobody expects anything from you." His voice softened. "I am beginning to remember." Yuri and Yoonji burst into the pavilion before either could move closer. Grandpa followed, then Siwoo and Imani arrived damp, mapless, and blaming each other. Dong-ho declared Seojin and Alia the winners after studying their photographs for suspiciously long. On the walk back, Yoonji held Alia's hand. Yuri looked up at Seojin. "Will Alia stay after the wedding?" All four adults stopped. She has her own life, Seojin said at last. Yuri frowned. She can have her life here too. Nobody laughed. Only 2 days remained before the wedding, and the end of the lie suddenly felt less like freedom than a deadline. Seojin waited outside Alia's villa with 2 cups of tea. You remembered the honey, she said. You sound surprised. I am adjusting to the possibility that you listen. Soyeon moved the seating rehearsal to the garden. We are late. We are early. In this family, that means late when Soyeon has flowers. At the garden, Siwoo held Imani's sandals while she tied ribbon to a chair. Alia pointed. Are you carrying her shoes? She threatened to walk barefoot through the reception. I offered, Imani said. I was protecting the wedding from scandal, Seojin nodded. Your first responsible decision, Soyeon clapped. Seojin, Alia stands beside you. Siwoo, stop moving the place cards. I seated Grandpa with the children because they understand him. Dongho raised his hand. I approved it. Alia stepped backward and Seojin caught her waist. You can let go, she said. I know. You are not letting go. I noticed. Siwoo whispered to Imani. Hyung has stopped pretending to pretend. Be quiet. You agree. I agree that you enjoy danger. Seojin finally released Alia, but their hands brushed and remained together until Soyeon called their names again. After lunch, Madame Kang invited Alia to the family suite. A wooden box of pearls, jade, and old photographs waited on the table. Soyeon cannot choose a necklace, Hyun said. Which one? The pearls are beautiful, but the jade is in the photograph with her mother. You noticed. You told me the wedding flowers were her mother's favorites. I assumed the details mattered. They do. Hyun touched the photograph. Seojin decided very young that everyone was his responsibility. Siwoo decided everyone needed to laugh. That explains both brothers. Does Seojin laugh with you? Sometimes. More than sometimes, according to his grandfather. Does Chairman Kang keep statistics? He keeps gossip, Alia smiled. That also explains something. Heewon's expression remained serious. A relationship cannot survive on performance. Eventually people become tired. What survives? Truth, patience, choosing the same person after the celebration ends. Alia lowered her cup. Are you warning me? I am asking whether you understand what pretending can cost. I am beginning to. Hyewon handed her the jade necklace. Take this to Soyeon. Tell her it was your choice. Why mine? Because she trusts you. I am deciding whether I do. That sounds fair. Most people try too hard to impress me. I am on vacation. I do not have the energy. Hyewon almost smiled. That may help your case. At sunset, Seojin found Alia at the cliffside pavilion. My grandmother kept you for an hour. Should I arrange a rescue? She showed me family jewelry and interrogated my character. That means she likes you. That is liking. You should see suspicion. She told me you became responsible for everyone after losing your parents. She should not have burdened you. She helped me understand. You. That may be worse. Why? Because this ends tomorrow night. Alia looked at him. You say that like you are reminding yourself. I am. Is it working? No. He stepped closer. Alia, I did not expect pretending to... Seojun, Siwoo shouted from the path. Soyeon needs you before she replaces the groom with flowers. Seojin closed his eyes. I am going to throw him into the sea. Alia laughed. After the wedding, what I was saying, you can finish later. Will you let me? Yes, Siwoo appeared, saw them and backed away. I have made a timing error. A severe one, Seojin said. I can disappear. You can run. Siwoo ran. Soyeon called again from below. Alia touched Seojin's hand. Later, he closed his fingers around hers. Later. Only 1 full day remained, and the word felt like a promise. That evening, Soyeon placed a stack of cards in the lounge. Siwoo stared at them. Nothing involving this family is harmless. It is a couples quiz, Hyunsuk said. Matching answers earn points. Imani whispered, we are going to fail publicly. Have faith in our imaginary love. The first questions went well. Seojin knew Alia's breakfast. She knew he preferred black coffee and silence. Imani wrote that Siwoo ate anything stolen from her plate. Siwoo revealed the same answer. Destiny. Then Hyunsuk asked, where did you share your first kiss? 4 pens stopped. Soyeon blinked. You have kissed, right? We prefer privacy, Aaliyah said. Extreme privacy, Siwoo added. Madame Kang folded her hands. You claimed you had dated for months, Seojin answered. A relationship is not measured by public displays. Grandpa nodded. Very dignified. Also completely evasive. Hyunsuk read the next card. Who said I love you first? Siwoo wrote Imani. Imani wrote nobody. Seojin and Aaliyah left their cards blank. Yuri whispered, The grown-ups are in trouble. Dongho stood. New rule. Boring questions lose 5 points, Soyeon protested. Grandpa! I founded the family. I can amend the game. That is not how games work, Hyunsuk said. It is how companies work. Everyone laughed, but Madame Kang kept watching the 4 blank cards. Dongho cornered them beside the dessert table. You are terrible liars, he said. Siwoo lowered his cake. That is hurtful. It is accurate, Aaliyah asked. How much do you know? Seojin did not meet you in Seoul. Siwoo has never willingly entered an art gallery. Imani would not date a strawberry thief without an apology. Imani pointed at Siwoo. I said that. He sighed. I am sorry about the strawberry. Too late. Seojin stepped forward. This was my responsibility. Do not involve them. There is the serious speech, Dongho said. I wondered when it would arrive. Will you tell grandmother? Tell her what? That the relationships began as a lie. Dongho ate another bite. Your grandmother is traditional, not foolish. Siwoo whispered, We are dead. Not before the wedding. Soyeon would object. Why did you help us? Aaliyah asked. At first the lie was funny. Dongho looked at both brothers. Now it is not entirely a lie, nobody answered. That silence is the first convincing thing you have done. He turned away, then added, The lantern walk begins in 10 minutes. Couples make a wish at the end. Siwoo narrowed his eyes. Is that another trap? Everything useful is a trap if you are stubborn enough. Lanterns led from the gardens to the beach. Imani walked beside Siwoo. What happens after tomorrow? He asked. We go home. I do not like that answer. Neither do I. He touched her cheek carefully. This is not a surprise kiss. No, I can see it coming. Do you object? Ask me after. He kissed her, and neither of them made a joke. Farther down the path, Seojin stopped Aaliyah beneath a flower-shaped lantern. You promised to finish what you were saying, she said. I did. No, your brother interrupted. I was going to say, pretending became the most honest part of my life. That is dangerous. One day before the agreement ends. No, say the rest. I do not want this to end. Neither do I. His hand rose to her face. May I? Yes. Their kiss was slow and quiet, nothing like practice. From the terrace, Madame Kang watched both couples. Dongho joined her. You were right, he once said. I usually am. Do not ruin the moment. So we have a plan? We have a wedding first, and after? Haiwan watched Seojin take Aaliyah's hand. After they tell the truth. The next morning, Madame Kang summoned all 4 to her suite. Siwoo read the message twice. She wrote immediately. Imani fixed his collar. You deserve this. You kissed me last night. That does not erase your crimes. Inside, Seojin bowed. Grandmother, I can explain. I hope so. Your stolen tea story was weak, Aaliyah inhaled. Our relationship was not real when we arrived. Neither was ours, Imani said. Siwoo lifted one hand. That was my fault. Most things are, Seojin replied. Haiwan asked why continue? I wanted Soyeon's wedding protected from another discussion about my life, Seojin said. I thought it would be harmless, Aaliyah added. I agreed because he promised resort activities, Imani said. Siwoo looked wounded. I also have charm. No one asked, Haiwan replied. Dongho coughed to hide a laugh. And now? Haiwan asked Seojin. He took Aaliyah's hand. Now I care for her. That is not part of the agreement. Haiwan turned to Aaliyah. Do you? Yes, but I will not stay because a family expects it. Good. Everyone stared. Tradition without choice is pressure, Haiwan said. I wanted honesty, not obedience. Siwoo whispered. Are we forgiven? No, his shoulders fell. You are tolerated until after the ceremony, Dongho grinned. That is practically affection. Outside, Siwoo exhaled. I survived. Imani walked toward the beach. Temporarily, he followed. We need to talk. Without jokes. That sounds medically dangerous. Siwoo. He became serious. I do not want you to become a funny story I tell at family dinners. What do you want? I want to visit you. I want you to visit me. I want to annoy you across multiple countries. That is your romantic offer? I can improve it, he took her hands. I want a real chance with no audience and no lie. She smiled. Cautious, yes. I accept cautious. At the cliffside pavilion, Seojin faced Aliyah. I cannot ask you to change your life after 1 week. Good. I would say no. I expected that. But you can ask what happens next. What happens next? We finish the vacation. You call me when I am home. I will call before you reach the airport. That sounds controlling. Efficient. We try long distance. We visit. We see whether this survives outside an island full of lanterns. And if it does, then you can ask a harder question. He kissed her hand. I can be patient. Your brother says otherwise. My brother lies. Not about everything. At dinner, Soyeon studied both couples. Something changed, she said. Hyunsuk nodded. They look less terrified. Siwoo raised his glass. Love has made me brave. Imani took it away. 1 sip made you dramatic. Soyeon asked Aliyah, are you staying for breakfast after the wedding? Yes. And after breakfast? Aliyah looked at Seojin. We are figuring that out. That sounds more real than game night, Soyeon said. Seojin frowned. Did you know? I knew Siwoo was lying. His left eyebrow moves. Siwoo covered it. I have a betrayal eyebrow? You do now, Imani said. Yuri and Yoonji brought 4 handmade bracelets. These are so you do not forget us, Yuri said. Aliyah crouched. I could not forget you. Yoonji hugged her. Then come back. I will try. After everyone left, Seojin remained beside Aliyah. Are you frightened? He asked. Of tomorrow ending? Yes, a little. So am I. She rested her head on his shoulder. That is reassuring. Why? Because I am not the only one risking something. He wrapped an arm around her. Below them, staff lit the final candles. The lie had ended quietly. What remained would face the morning. Wedding morning filled the island with flowers in controlled panic. Soyeon stood before a mirror while Aliyah fastened the jade necklace. My mother wore this, Soyeon said. Your grandmother told me. She said you chose it. I suggested it. In this family, that counts as choosing. Soyeon squeezed her hands. Thank you for being here. Even under unusual circumstances? Especially then. In the groom's suite, Siwoo adjusted Hyunsuk's tie incorrectly. Stop helping, Hyunsuk said. I am creating memories, Seojin fixed it. He creates problems. Memories are a side effect. Siwoo stared at him. You are smiling before noon. Should I call a doctor? No. You kissed Aliyah. Seojin's stare sharpened. That was not a question. Hyunsuk laughed. Let him be happy. I am happy for him, Siwoo said. I just intend to make it unbearable. Outside, Madame Kang found Aliyah and Imani. You both look appropriate. Imani whispered. That is the nicest thing she has said. Hwan heard her. Do not become accustomed to it. Then she adjusted Aliyah's bracelet. Stand with the family. Are you sure? I rarely speak without being sure. The ceremony began beneath white flowers with the sea behind the altar. Soyeon whispered to Hyunsuk, do not cry before I do. I am not crying. You are blinking emotionally. Their vows made even Siwoo quiet. After the kiss and applause, Soyeon called the couples forward for photographs. Family partners beside the brothers. Siwoo put an arm around Imani. Official promotion. Do not make me demote you. Yuri pushed Seojun closer to Aliyah. No coworker pose. You have become demanding, he said. I learned from Grandma. The photographer laughed as Seojun held Aliyah's waist without hesitation. Later he led her to the water. 1 week ago I asked you to maintain a lie. You made it sound like a business proposal. I was nervous. You looked terrifyingly calm. I have practice. He took both her hands. I am not asking for forever today. I am asking for the next visit, the next call, and the chance to earn every step after that. That is a much better proposal. Is it a yes? Yes. Nearby, Siwoo told Imani, I can also make a speech. Do not copy your brother. Come visit me, and I promise to steal only half your desserts. She kissed him. Still needs work. At the reception, Grandpa tapped his glass. I have a brief announcement, Dongho said. Hee-won murmured. That has never been true. This wedding gave us one married couple and two couples who spent a week claiming they were already together. Aaliyah nearly dropped her glass. Siwoo whispered, He promised not to expose us. I promise nothing, Dongho said. Seojin stood. Grandfather, sit. I am being sentimental. Everyone obeyed from shock. Dongho raised his glass. Soyeon and Hyunsuk keep choosing each other. Seojin and Aaliyah, stop treating happiness like a negotiation. Siwoo and Imani, may the rest of us survive whatever you become. Imani lifted her glass. No guarantees, Madam Kang stood. Tradition keeps a family connected, but it is not a cage. She looked at Aaliyah and Imani. You arrived as guests. Return as yourselves. That will be enough, Siwoo whispered. She likes us. Hee-won replied, Do not exaggerate. The music began. Seojin held out his hand. Dance with me? Are you going to count? Not tonight. Beside them, Siwoo spun Imani too fast. She stepped on his shoe. You did that deliberately. Prove it. Fireworks rose over the sea. Seojin drew Aaliyah close. The agreement is over, he said. Good, good. I prefer the real relationship. He kissed her as the family cheered. Siwoo kissed Imani between jokes. Soyeon danced with Hyunsuk, and Grandpa tried to teach Yoonji a forbidden card trick while Grandma pretended not to watch. Their vacation ended the next morning. Their relationships did not.